All right, everyone. Hey, it is trigger warning with Antonia Okafor and Nina Prevo. She's not here right now, but I decided that I'm going to start because I was not here last week and I don't want to keep you guys down, let you guys down by not showing up. So I'm here. Nina, I'm sure will join us later. But I just want to say so sorry, first of all, that I wasn't here last week. I actually was speaking at Florida State University and what, go Seminoles, right? I didn't go to that school, so it's okay. I'm not really, 100% invested, but they're a great school and it was the college Republicans that invited me. So of course I had to come speak. So I spoke with them. It was amazing. But unfortunately, at the same time, I had to give it to them. I had to tell them what was up and told them about the horrible state of affairs when it comes to their gun laws. Okay. So I've been kind of railing on them for a while. They took it well, they took it with grace, but it was needed because this is our future generation, right? And that's what I'm about, is talking to young people about our Second Amendment rights. So that's what I did. And they took it and it was great. So, but unfortunately, that also meant I wasn't able to speak to you guys. That day, earlier that day, I actually also went to lobby because they're in session right now. So campus carry, which is a big thing for me. If you guys don't know me, that is one of the big things that I push for. I've pushed for a long time in Texas, and then have done that as well with Empowered. Starting Empowered as a gun rights group for young college women, who whose number one policy issue really is campus carry, because that's really what affects them on college campuses. So that's what I did. I went to went to the people of the Florida legislator and talked to them. Spoke to Representative Anthony Sabatini, who is the author of the campus carry bill. Pretty quickly in, though, I realized that, it's not going to pass unless, of course, the great state of Florida and the pro gun people rise up and say that they want campus carry, which is what I thought they did. But unfortunately, it's not also correlating when it comes to action. So that didn't work out. But so basically, he said that we need to come back in November and start over again because it's basically not going to be heard. It's on currently right now. It is on the floor of the House in Florida, in the Florida state legislature, but it's not going to be heard just because, I mean, this legislation has been kicked to the curb. I feel like I'm an immigrant a lot of times because I don't know how to say all these English sayings. Kicked to the curb several times. And it's unfortunately probably not going to go anywhere this time. So unless we have people who are actually going to change it, it's not going to happen. And if we get people who are going to rise up and call the legislators and call the people, or even go there, even better, to go there and visit these people, because I'm telling you, the people that they're talking to are anti-gun people. And by the way, they also have R's behind their names, or, nice next to their names. So it's not all these Democrats that are anti-gun who are going there and speaking about why they don't think that a gun should be on a college campus, or why these people are kids when they're not. I'm all about, if a kid, an 18-year-old who is absolutely able to go and fight for our country and also fire and hold those same firearms to protect said country, then they should also be able to come back home and protect themselves and the people that they care about. And so, yeah, I think that suffices for someone who's an adult. Not even the fact that, not even including the fact that it's the law that you're an adult when you're 18. But all that to say, it looks pretty dismal right now. It looks like that's not going to happen unless something changes. So My beef with Florida is the campus carry issue. But I mean, if you're not paying attention to the news, especially in Parkland, after Parkland, I mean, they were trendsetters in the worst possible way. Right after Parkland happened and right after then Republican Governor Rick Scott signed the bill, and that is now law that has changed the rifle purchase age from 18 to 21. Um, Guys, that's still in effect right now. Right after that happened, a trend started where 38, yes, 38 other states also had some type of legislation that was similar to that. Several states actually still implemented that law. We know Washington did. And they have a plethora of other horrible laws that was connected with that law, but in particular, but also we also have Illinois that I believe it was the Senate that they passed in the Senate. I don't know if it actually passed in the House as well. But California as well also passed it. So, and those are just the ones that actually passed it. The fact that we even had states thinking about it goes to show that, and then of course, again, red states, right? 38 states. There are plenty of red states in those 38. So um, they definitely set the worst possible trend when it comes to that. It also, Florida also set one of the worst trends when it comes to the fact that we also had the red flag laws that here I am now official, what do we call it? Coloradian? I don't know how you would say that. I am now in the state of Colorado, and I unfortunately have had to witness the passing of the red flag laws that we have now. Um, Thankfully, we have sheriffs that are willing to fight against control like that, federal control, really, because it's also on the federal level that they're trying to push it right now. But more so, even on the state level, that seems to think that can supersede the Constitution that states that we have a Second Amendment right, even here in Colorado. So that is also something that Weld County Sheriff said that he wasn't going to enact because he's pro Second Amendment. He's actually made Weld County a Second Amendment sanctuary. Can they say sanctuary county? So other than that, the state of Colorado believes that they can, have anybody basically say that deem that you are quote dangerous and take away your firearms. And one of the big things I've heard since talking about against red flag laws is all these people coming out saying that that there's due process. Look, there's no due process if you didn't commit a crime. What's the crime that you committed in order to be appearing in front of said judge? To then, at that time, then say, this is the reason why I should keep my Second Amendment right. And this is the reason why I'm not considered dangerous. It is mind boggling to me that, I mean, if this was a leftist type of law or anything that was trying to be pushed right now, the first thing that they would try to use with the whole dangerous thing is that, oh, dangerous, right? Well, oh, what about a minority, right? A minority, you could consider that person dangerous. And so some person thinks that minority is shouldn't have a gun or talked about firearm or what have you. And they seem a little, different to me. So I'm gonna make sure that they are in front of a judge who don't have an actual crime that they committed other than that they seem dangerous to me. The left would be all over that, and it would be on every single headline that here we are trying to push this completely racist law, but when it comes to the gun laws, then no, it's not racist at all. It's not. It can be racist. It can be a sexist aspect and have people who are going to make up things like, oh, this person has an emotional issue, or I mean, it seems ridiculous to you or me right now, but the fact of the matter is that it is so vague in the law, and we talked about this with Nina. It's so vague in the law that dangerous can mean a lot of things. So again, that's something also that was really pushed on a national scale after Parkland. Again, Florida, just keeping those trends alive when it comes to the bad gun law. So But I can't say as a Texan, right? I'm sure a lot of you Floridians right now are just like, oh, well, you're just saying that because you're a Texan and you think that you guys have the best gun laws and you're the best state. I mean, we are. But all that to say, I will have to say, if you guys have been keeping up with the constitutional carry effort right now, um, I'm pretty disgusted, to be honest, with this is not even just some random Texas representative. It is the current Speaker of the Texas House, who is adamantly against constitutional carry. For a little background on constitutional carry, at least this session, this legislative session, we've had multiple states already pass it. South Dakota, by the way, led by a female governor, Republican governor. Thank you very much for realizing that gun rights are women's rights and implementing it on the state level. Then we also have Kentucky, who passed constitutional carry, and Oklahoma, who also passed constitutional carry. So these three great states, which not no, actually, all three of them don't have campus carry, which will work out later on. But they passed constitutional carry, which is kind of funny because, I mean, constitutional, the fact that we have to gain our rights back by saying that it's constitutional carry when it should just be normal carry, right? It's constitutional. So Texas, for the third time in a row, this is the third session that we try to pass constitutional carry. And I will admit, when I first thought about constitutional carry, when people would bring that up, remember, I grew up without firearms. I grew up as a Democrat. I voted for President Obama not just once but twice. You guys have heard that story multiple times, so you guys know that I'm new to this whole thing. And it was really concealed carry that was my first love, to be honest. It wasn't really, I understood concealed carry. There was a permit, there were checks, there were requirements, right? It wasn't until later that I learned more about what's going on that I realized, whoa, 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 who just joined?
Hi. So,
Hey.
hey, I'm not sure if my audio is okay or if everyone can see me, and I'm sorry to be joining in late. I don't know if Antonia explained why I was late.
Oh, yeah, I was totally telling them that you're an awful person. Yeah, that's what I was telling them before you got on.
Well, my future mother-in-law's car broke down a few blocks away from my apartment, so I had to help her wait for a tow truck. So my apologies. But I'm here. So go ahead. What were you talking about? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So I was talking about constitutional carry. So hold on just a second. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, can you hear me, Nina?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Oops. Okay, can you hear me again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. All right.
Yes.
Yeah. This is what happens.
Right.
My broadcast, right? So yeah, I was talking about constitutional carry and how Kentucky and South Dakota and Oklahoma passed it, but here we are with Texas. I was already railing on Florida already, so I was about to start railing on Texas. So I haven't talked about the story, but if you want to jump in and talk about that, I would love that. Since it's hard for me as a Texan to start talking about it.
Sure. Did you read them the quote from the Republican?
Not yet. No, I just told him that it's Speaker Bonin, whatever. I don't care.
Right.
Is the current Speaker of the Texas House, and he's against constitutional carry. So yeah, that's
right. And so one of my biggest thoughts on this is the fact that it's not even Democrats who are really trying necessarily. I mean, I'm sure they're trying, but it wasn't really the Democrats who put the kibosh on this. This is a Republican Texan who is, because of one radical, protester type, has decided that he's going to go off on this on this decision to not have constitutional carry in Texas and to advocate against it. And I think it just goes to show that you still have to be careful when you're electing your representatives to make sure that even if they have the right letter next to their name, that they really are concerned about the right things and that they really are going to implement policies that are what they say they are. And it's hard to tell, especially with state officials, because they might not have a record in terms of how they voted. But once you see something like this, that's when you have to say, okay, well, next time an election comes around, we're going to get rid of this person and give them the boot as fast as they can. And it also just goes to show that even states like Texas are not invulnerable to attacks on the Second Amendment. I mean, people like to think of Texas as cowboy country, where it's safe, and it'll never happen here where our Second
We're
Amendment
not
is
talking about
threatened.
Cowboys, the actual like football team. We're talking about
Oh my God.
right.
Oh Lord, I didn't even mean to
It
make
is
like
Cowboy.
a football reference. But it's true though. I mean, in terms of it being a safe haven for like conservative policies, or especially for Second Amendment policies, it's not really clear that that's the case anymore, and it's pretty sad. So those are kind of my initial thoughts on it. I don't know if you have.
Yeah. So, okay, you didn't read the quote yet, right? I'm just gonna read it.
No, we should read it. I can pull it up too, but I didn't want to give you dead air right when you just passed me the mic.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
But I had it up on my phone as well.
Okay, so listen to this, guys. Again, can I remember? I'm just remind you, this is a Republican, not only a Republican, but a leader in
Yeah,
the Republican House, the
yeah.
Speaker of the House that was just voted in because, and people really thought that maybe he'd be better because we just voted out because he left. He decided not to run for another term. Speaker Strauss, that was notorious for being, basically another rhino, right? So we had high hopes for this one. This is what he said. Okay, granted, let me give you background before people were like, well, you're not giving the whole story. The background is that apparently, right, there was a gun rights activist, part of a group that was going to door to different houses in the district that he or she or said activist was supposed to cover. And that person ended up going to the speaker's house. And so the speaker considered it harassment, right? Actually at the time he wasn't even at the house, but still it was considered, because the gun group that was involved or what have you, that he was harassing him. And so the speaker used that, saying that because that happened, that we're going to take off constitutional carry off the table, that it's not happening. We're not even going to hear it this session. Granted, this is the first session that he's speaker of as well. So that was his excuse, because a gun rights activist harassed him by basically just going to his house. I'm sure it wasn't on purpose, but it was part of, being on there. And even if it was on purpose, to be honest, you are a representative. We are your constituents. The whole state of Texas are constituents, especially if you're Speaker of the House. Okay.
What? I mean, come on.
I know. Like, so harassment that is a normal thing for us to come to you and voice our concerns and be upset. And if we're upset about something, as long as, of course, it's not something where you're actually hurting them or is violent in any way or even derogatory or anything like that. I mean, you still have a right to voice your opinion, whether you're upset or not, as long as you're doing it in a way that, of course, is legal. So this was harassment to him. This is what he said. So this is his quote afterwards, his written statement. I could no longer watch as legislators and their families are incessantly harassed by fanatical gun rights activists who think laws preventing criminals from carrying a gun should be repealed. Their goal is to eradicate sensible gun policies by allowing anyone to carry a gun without a license and proper training, going to constitutional carry.
Right.
Making it impossible for law enforcement to distinguish between, this is a funny one, and I've had so many cops tell me, like, a cop here Pretty sure that's not how it works. But so it's making it impossible for law enforcement to distinguish between law-abiding gun owners and criminals. The fear and terror used to push this agenda has made it clear this is bad public policy. So, first of all, okay, remember this is a speaker. So he's not just leaving anytime soon, right? This isn't just like he's tabling this and then one and done. That's it. No, this is a speaker. So this is his viewpoint. And come on, I already had to use the bless your heart type of response already to some people who are just like, well, if that person didn't harass them, first of all, for people who are saying that they harass them are Austin American statesmen, which is a liberal rag. And I've actually written for them before. So you can, yeah, I will take responsibility for that as well. But it is Austin American statesmen and then also the Texas Tribune. So we know both of those are definitely anti-constitutional carry, anti-pro-gun laws, pro-gun rights in general. But they wouldn't tell you that because they're Texas. They're going to say that they're pro-Second Amendment, but right. But they're not. Let me just tell you the truth. So these are from these people saying this, that they're pushing that the reason why constitutional carry was tabled is because of this one gun rights activist harassing him, whatever. This quote, I mean, come on. Yeah, bless your heart, you believe that he didn't have the same notion, that he didn't believe this way beforehand. This is something that we are constantly pushing up against when it comes to, I mean, the left or people who are anti-gun, but frankly, a lot of Republicans who do believe this way too. That one, that it's the gun and it's not the criminal. Excuse me, the cop. I'm not a cop, but the cops that were like responding in this, they were just like, first of all, we can distinguish between if they're committing a crime, that's usually that's the criminal. Okay, I think that's kind of how it works.
No, it's
true. So, and then and multiple levels on that. There's so many things in this written quote, right? Not just like, oh, taken out of context or whatever. This was a response after that happened, after he tabled that. This was premeditated, if you want to make it like that. He knew what he was doing, and he's a Speaker of the House. And it's tabled. So that's where we are right now. So yeah,
based on what I saw, it's indefinitely tabled.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah, it's gone. And the thing is, a lot of states have their sessions once a year. We have our session every other year. So it's not only.
Oh, I didn't know that about Texas.
Yeah.
Oh, see, yeah, this isn't cool.
It's tabled for 2 more years at least. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's a couple things that are alarming about his statement. I mean, the first is the idea that based on harassment from a few individuals, that would be an appropriate pretext to change your opinion about a constitutional right. I don't really understand how individual instances of harassment have anything to do with the rights of Texans. I don't think that should have changed that whatsoever. But also, just as a Speaker of the House, you really should be trying to advocate for the best interests of everybody in the state. And I'm not sure if how it works in Texas, but I'm assuming he also has a specific district.
Yeah.
And unless that district was really up in arms asking him specifically to table this, then he shouldn't be doing that. And quite frankly, even if they were asking him to table it, he should have the good enough sense to be protecting the Constitution. Because I'm sure that in addition to the Second Amendment of the federal Constitution, that the Texas Constitution or whatever, I don't know if they call it a charter or what in Texas, but the Texas version of a constitution, I'm sure also has a right to bear arms. Oh, yeah. So if this is something that the people were trying to push and that got up as far as it did in the House of Representatives because the people wanted it, the last thing he should do is be tabling it because of a few genuinely, if it's acts of harassment, those people are criminals. So maybe you shouldn't kowtow to what they want. Maybe you should actually pay attention to the law-abiding citizens of your district and of your state and try to put in policies on that basis.
That's all I'm asking, Nina. Is that so hard to ask? Like, is that so hard? I mean, come on. It's not. It's not hard to actually, give the people what they want, is actually constitutionally sound. I mean, again, I was telling them before this that it's called constitutional carry. Yeah. And
It's a good point you raised there.
I
I wonder why.
mean,
Maybe it's because it's literally taking the words from the Constitution and putting it into practice instead of all of the. That's one of the things I talk about a lot with people, although I get a lot of pushback, is that if our First Amendment were curtailed at all, the way the Second Amendment has been curtailed, people would be up in arms about it because the language shall not be infringed is pretty clear. But the Second Amendment gets infringed all the time. I mean, our Fourth Amendment's a bit messed up right now. A lot of our amendments get infringed, but people talk about the regulation on guns and gun control as if it's not an infringement. But all of it is. It's a matter of how much is okay. And there might be some room for something, but I personally am a constitutional carry advocate, and I don't think you should have to report yourself to the government for owning a gun at all. And if you commit a crime with a gun, that's a whole different thing. And that's the other silly thing I was going to mention is he says, how are we supposed to know the difference between the criminals and the law-abiding citizens? It's like, well, usually an inanimate object that someone's carrying, absent the drug laws, which I also disagree with, but usually absent something like that, just having something on your possession does not make you a criminal, and it shouldn't. If you commit a burglary with it or a robbery with it, now we're in different territory, right? Now you're committing a violent crime against someone else.
I mean, it's the same thing with the red flag laws, right? Like I was talking about that before, is that, well, it's due process because just because you appear in front of a judge does not make that automatically due process. There needs to be some type of reasonable reason of why you're even appearing in front of the judge. And there's no crime involved, unless the crime now is going to be if you are considered a danger to an individual, right?
Or yourself. Which could be any.
Or yourself, exactly.
I'm clumsy. Am I a danger to myself?
I laugh, and I'm just like, I'm pretty sure how vague it is that you can make a decision. You can, like they did with people are talking about they made it seem like it was a mental health, issue, and that Trump tabled that and the whole Social Security thing. But basically, if you're not able to take care of your finances, and therefore you would be deemed, where Obama tried to push that, that you wouldn't be deemed not able to also have a firearm, because they go so well together. Like, look, how many people? I mean, what's the national debt right now? Okay, so you're trying to say, okay, we have like $21 trillion in debt, and you trying to act like, what is it, 21? I'm sure it like goes up.
It might have passed 21 trillion now. That Debt Clock website, I actually check that pretty regularly, and it's just ticking. It's just constantly going. But that's one of the many reasons why I care about the Second Amendment too, because if everything hits the fan economically as well, I do not trust our government with that kind of debt load to be kind to the citizens. So keep your guns. Don't get rid of them. And it's a shame that Texas is going this way. I know I might have taken us off on a tangent, but Texas is kind of
libertarian in debt. When we talk about libertarian, it's like literally cake and a fat kid. You start talking about.
I'm gonna tweet that. Libertarian talking about debt is like, a fat kid.
Fat cake. Fat kid. Yeah. So I know I took you on there. It was my fault. My apologies on that one. But so unfortunately, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to make one quick side comment, which is that now we're also going to get in trouble for fat shaming. So,
it's called trigger warning, guys.
We'll get
we officially gave it the trigger warning that it's called trigger warning. So, to be honest, the trigger warning this time was actually that the fact that I put that Republicans are not really great with gun laws, or that Florida are not great with is not a great gun law state, or that Texas is not a great gun law state. So there are multiple warnings in that one sentence. I mean, there's multiple triggers in that one sentence, to be honest. But that's just how it's gonna be, because I made a decision a long time ago that it's gonna be about the Second Amendment over party any day. It has to. So if you don't like that, then you're gonna be triggered.
Yeah. We'll trigger plenty of people.
Yeah. I know. I'm here to educate, okay? And also like have awkward, live streams like we did today. So, but we promised you we're talking today. We made it work, and I'm so glad Nina could join along as well. I'm about to do the Okay, what do you call Colorado? Like someone from Colorado? Is it Coloradian?
Coloradan?
Coloradan?
Coloradan.
Okay,
Yeah.
Coloradan. Come on, Colorado. I'm just kidding.
Hey.
Okay, I'm gonna call. Yeah, I'm that. And I'm headed to the Rockies game because
Yeah.
every good loyal native always like hops on the bandwagon when they're doing well, a team is doing well, right? So I'm gonna go with my fiance to the Rockies game. But I want you guys to think about that. Okay, think about what we just talked about, and of course we're gonna talk more about it. We are actually set to push out a podcast soon where we'll have people experts on the constitutional carry issue. Rachel Malone from Gun Owners of America is actually going to be joining us for that episode for constitutional carry. And then we're going to have Representative Anthony Sabatini, who is the author of the Campus Carry Bill in Florida. So we're going to
Yeah.
have a lot more content via podcast. So you will not see our faces, but you will hear our beautiful resident.
Our beautiful voices.
Yes, beautiful.
And we'll also be making content too that's not necessarily just us talking about the issues, but we'll be going to gun ranges, we'll be giving reviews on things. So stay tuned. It's gonna get more exciting as we go. And I'm so sorry I was late, guys. I really am.
Yeah, and I'm
And I'm
sorry.
also like looking a mess, so I'm sorry.
Okay, that's you're looking a mess. I think we're in good shape. So, all right. Well, that is trigger warning for you, and we will see you guys next Monday. Thanks for joining us. Bye,
Thank
y'all.
you for seeing you guys. Bye.